Hi everyone, my name is Explodicy. I am the scene layout man thing. I put the thing in the thing, and that made it look the thing that it does.
My name is SirChronocide. I'm the visual effects artist for Log Horizon Abridged Episode 6.
And I am CalMeji. I am the audio editor for Episode 6 of Log Horizon Abridged.
And this episode was a bitch, wasn't it?
Oh, that's a bit of an understatement if I do say so myself.
Fantastic. Let's watch the episode, shall we?
Let's go.
I've been looking around on the internet, and it
So I want to pause right here and point out the scene where Akatsuki just comes down and Shiro doesn't react in the original. Shiro does react, but I cut Akatsuki out of the entire frame and repasted her. Shiro just sat there. I'm very proud of it. It took a lot of keyframes and a lot of hours to actually do.
Thank
like
you,
more
Akatsuki's
work than I
there
needed.
for obstructing the screen and one thing, so I had to move the screen over and shit. But yeah, that's
You're welcome. Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything to add about the wiki? Or anything as such like that with this scene?
The Wikipedia page entry on the screen is probably the closest thing I can think of that could possibly describe what sword art is, because anything else, I think would just be doing it justice. So I'm just like, let's let Wikipedia describe it, because yeah, that's just fine.
Fair enough. Let's just continue with it.
Yeah.
Is it going to be any good? Because honestly, I really could care less.
My thoughts exactly.
Well, they say there won't be any magic in this game, so it's nice that they're stepping away from the common style, but I feel like that's a stupid decision.
You're only saying that because you're a mage.
No, I'm saying that as a person who is currently stuck in a video game, and one of the few persons
Shiro's only saying it because he's a
that
mage.
can actually use magic.
Hal, what do you think?
I think that this project is too big an undertaking for such a small staff to implement. The launch time is too short. Development of the VR gear was just
I really enjoy
complete.
Menu's
There
voice.
haven't been enough
Oh.
trials.
Yeah, let's pause right here. I want you to explain what went into Menu's voice, like what you did to it. Explain to me that.
A fair bit of reverb and a nice flange effect. Little flange actually goes a long way.
Does it?
That
I mean,
it
did
does.
you do the same thing? Is this the same effect you used in episode 5, or?
Yep, it's the same effect. I made sure to keep all the settings from episode 5 because I wanted to make sure that everything flowed as evenly as possible for this episode as it did the last one.
What a smart lad you are.
Presets are your friend.
Absolutely. And
All right,
I'm
let's-
also,
Simple common
if you
uses,
can
and they jumped
continue
right
playing the
into game
video.
design. If you want my prediction, the game will be rushed.
I'm not sure if you heard the sound that I used for Akatsuki turning.
I'm sure one of
It'll
those bugs will be a massive
play again
game
in just a
changer,
second.
and no one will buy it upon a second shipping to stores. Most of the people who play it will not be real
Yes,
MMO
that sound
players
there,
because
that's
of their
actually
no magic
just
appeal.
the sound of a
Finally,
ratchet
some
turning,
poor dev will spend
but
a
it
lot
Dear
was
God.
absolutely effective in this setting here.
I thought that was a weird touch to the episode, but I was like, all right, I'll roll with it.
For EA, how is that better?
Our games haven't killed anyone,
People die in this game all the time.
and you respawn in the cathedral. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I tried so hard with a lot of the moving shots, it was a pain in the ass to fucking do.
Yay! Easiest visual effects shots all done now.
Yay, now we get into the more complicated shit.
Yay!
Alright, this next scene I'm particularly proud of.
Alright, lay it on us, boy. Once
All right,
we
so-
get to anything entertaining.
This trail is exhausting.
Like, I really had to set the atmosphere for this particular scene. It's very dark, very misty, very foggy. It's the dead of night.
While humming to themselves.
You got
Themselves?
two
I
adventurers
wasn't there.
here.
I don't know what gender.
A venturer and his boy.
Yeah,
Yep.
themselves. God, I wish I were an adventurer.
And
Love
danger.
the strings.
Oh, what's that? Ah, the goblins. I had so much fun with this
Yeah.
one. I have to give a shout out to Richie, who was actually the voice of all the goblins in this scene.
Props to him on that one. Just don't let Goblin Slayer get near him.
Okay, I'm particularly proud of this scene just because of the lip flaps that went into it. It was a huge pain in the ass, especially with that because of Toya wanting to move and bullshit like that.
Stop being a bitch.
Personally love those paralyzed effects.
Hurry up and
Very
get good
simple.
already.
I think I
It goes
spent the
one
most
side.
time looking for sound effects for this particular scene because of everything that happened in just those like 15 seconds right there.
He already
Of
brings enough stupid to our guild as it is.
let's see, I had to alter the plant monster's voice. I had to. There were like at least 6 different swiping and moving sounds there. And then there's this part here that I particularly enjoyed.
Thundering Westable ass bag.
Splash.
That is
I love that.
impossible here.
Timing is everything.
It is. Especially think about the hang time this man had.
Yes. Like, I had to kind of take that into consideration to figure out where exactly I wanted to put that splash sound. I'm proud of that one.
Oh boy. Chrono, I'm sure you got a lot to talk about this one.
Thanks, that would be great.
Oh yes, I got so much
Is
to
this your,
talk about.
is this your scene
Ready for-
9?
To a panic.
Are you ready for real-time footage of my computer rendering this fucking scene?
Oh, man.
And there goes the cannon.
Oh, the poor cannon.
There.
Richie's gonna be so upset that it's gone. My God.
So let's pause here. I'm
There's-
curious.
and-
How many different fire effects are just going on and all of that? Just wonderful goodness.
Oh, let me think. Oh, if I had to guess, let's see. We have 3 very distinct fires, and then I want to say 3 other various looping fires going on in the various buildings off to the left. Overall, I'd say this scene took roughly 9 hours to render. And as Richie just keeps on telling me every single time I gave him a new render, he goes, it could be more fire. And I'm like, yes, so could my CPU, but I kind of wanted to survive. So I'll settle with smoke.
But Chrono,
Smoke will work.
it could be more on fire.
Let's continue on, shall we?
Looking at all the fire and smoke, I had to figure out like how many layers of fire sounds and explosions I needed. As it turns out, 7.
God, we're not in a PvP zone.
Well, it didn't cause quite a stir.
I have a little issues when
Once I have to read.
there's a point where when Shiro's like,
Defecate on the cathedral steps. What kind of
the scene right there when he picked out the paper,
something
that
like
scene was
that?
particularly annoying to lip flap just because
You know,
it's slight movement, but his mouth moves a lot.
No menu was a guide.
Oh, I'm particularly proud of that. That was my idea to make him just
Is
sit
it
there.
bad that... It's very bad that by reflex I look down in my bottom right corner as soon as that Skype notification
I do it too. Every time I hear it.
This is another scene I had fun with. Just trying to pile on as many sounds as I can.
And then I want to throw him down in the
And then
Oh,
sand.
Oh, look, it's me
This scene
seeing
right-
Richie saying we need more fire.
On the round table. Stop acting like an oversexed teen. There are
stop right there. Oh,
we missed it.
we missed it.
She's 29, everyone. The joke. We missed the
29.
joke. She's 29.
Oh my God.
I love that part. That was a
Wasn't that a last minute
that
addition?
was something we ended up adding in the last minute when I was putting all this combining all the scenes together.
I approve of it.
I think it was Richie that mentioned that Sarah, the person who's playing Sarah, is actually a grown ass woman. So it made perfect sense to actually
Make her a grown ass woman. Pretending to be a
kind of
child.
subtly highlight.
Subtly highlight with text and an arrow. Yes, subtle is the word we're looking for.
Subtle. We get very subtle here
Alright.
at Fat Dog Studios.
Subtlety is our motto.
Hell yeah. Alright, let's just continue.
Let's go.
patron present.
Yeah, why the hell did she call all of you anyway?
I don't know.
She had some questions about shibari nuts.
I'm kind of afraid
I
to
think
ask.
I've used at least used the Hanna-Barbera violin noise at least 3 or 4 times
Looks like the
in this whole
poor
episode.
God.
is another batch of nibbles.
That's a
Well, there's
lot of
me
violence.
playing Shoryu.
Orchestra with that.
From Hamlin. We couldn't stay in the new building anymore and had to move. And most of their players in their 20s and 30s, so I really had no idea what to do about helping them.
Literally everyone that talks to
I
me
enjoy
just tells me
playing
shut the fuck
Pickup
up.
Solve both of those problems.
This scene, I edited the scene on a live stream.
Stop being a Dave training.
I'm very proud of it.
Oh, that subtle eye movement, so good.
Look at that subtle eye movement, Chrono. Look at that subtlety.
Yes, it looks so good. It's like the editor knew exactly what he was doing.
It's almost as if the editor knew how to do eyes.
Communication and how aggro works because we've been out with some of you.
This is what it
and-
sounds like when editors pat themselves on the
Damn,
back
okay.
for their own work.
We just sound really conceited and narcissistic.
Also, right here, I just want to say, at that shot right there, the first time I saw Akatsuki with that board, I swear to God, I thought that was a giant cucumber.
I actually thought that was a giant cucumber too.
Good, I'm not the only weird one here.
Lip flopping, that was really annoying right there. The run the house code thing it was just because his hair got in the way and everything was moving. But I
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you work on that during the live stream.
and I hated it. Every
When
second
you're
of
trying
it.
to avoid using those shots at whatsoever.
Oh, this scene, these people, this guy. There was a real lack of like footage of just this guy in general, so I had to use what I could and reuse a bunch of fish shots.
What is a
Well, one advantage, you don't have to lip flap a lot.
quoting Star Wars like a nerd? What is
I got a little lazy with this scene, but you know what? It works.
You work with what
Exactly.
you got. Like I said, write your script to your footage and you'll have no problems. Spoilers, you will always have problems.
Yes, always.
And if there are no problems, you will make problems.
Because you'll think too high of it.
First impression, they left. We had to send a fucking envoy with a video file of Star Wars to get them to speak with us.
Sounds like a
Then
party.
they wanted to know if there was more, so we showed them Empire. Then they asked for another, and we showed them the Phantom Menace. And then
Really
they
appreciating
stopped
the
Phantom Menace is a good movie. I don't care what
a lot of
anyone
these-
says.
Finally, we were able to actually get down to business.
I will fight you.
So, the entire envoy now shares a Twitter account.
Really
Fucking
appreciating
nuts.
the musical direction
What if we
that
get caught
this
up in all
episode
their
took.
crazy
Oh yeah,
politics?
no, that transition right there was all me, right there.
You mean like Brexit?
All you.
Yeah, I did that crossfade.
Brexit? Hockey Brexit?
Very proud of it.
Exit? God, that sounds stupid.
And Brexit doesn't?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Lazy people shouldn't name stuff.
Oh, shut up, Mr. Crit Happens.
Not a lot happened during the scene.
God damn it, I do.
Oh, this scene. Pause right here. This scene. This scene. This scene.
Hey man, I know you don't like renewable energy, but
No,
still.
no, this entire scene can suck it. I hate this scene so goddamn much. This scene, let me explain this scene. This scene is literally just fucking them on a horse and then a bunch of panning shots with them on the horse. So that means that means they're moving up and down with their lip flaps. But no, it doesn't. It's not as simple as, oh, I can just move the lip flap up and then it's in the perfect place. No, it's gonna pan too, which means I have to make it pan as well. And this scene.
Boy, you need to learn some motion tracking in Adobe After Effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I do every night.
Play a little 5-on-1.
Yeah, basically. A little 10-on-1 actually.
Oh,
Oh.
he needs two hands for this. Oh God.
Alright, let's continue watching the episode.
We have clean energy. What's your
Yes, let's continue fapping to our own videos here.
Yes.
I was talking about playing fucking computer games. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just like Minecraft.
No one plays Minecraft anymore, bro.
Okay, I had a little mess up with the flaps on that man right now because his flaps kind of go a little everywhere at one point.
Kick your ass. Just
What is Toya holding?
Nothing.
What is he holding on to?
He's
Seriously.
holding on to nothing.
Unless you're in a wheelchair.
Now he's holding on to something. We were holding on to that before, bud.
Everyone, wave to the little girl.
What's up?
I love that
And I am here. I'm real.
I am here.
I'm really happy with where I placed that.
Are you kidding? We ran into dungeons.
Again, this is lack of footage where I just had to just deal with what I had.
Are we burning down the school? Kinda. We need the desks and chairs.
I was actually wondering about that.
Then I approve.
Any idea why
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, there was not a lot of footage to work
It
with.
had to be somewhere else.
I'm pretty sure they're just.
Like I said, man, write it to the footage.
Well, I mean, that's something you bring up to the writer, not me.
Hey, look, there's us editing.
Slide those DMs.
Hey.
That was a
Hanna-Barbera
joke that
finally
me and
knows
Richie
again.
came up with on the fly. I was like, we need to have this happen.
And there is no one who
It was my favorite thing.
politics and manipulate.
Isaac sliding into DMs is like my favorite thing.
Am I right?
Fucking traitors.
You know you could have just denied them entry to the bank.
And we also realized those horses are llama horses.
Llama horses.
Horses.
Why did you come along?
I did not notice that until just now. Interesting.
The more you know.
Say about kink shaming in the guild.
Well, that explains why Henrietta's here.
I have no idea what you're talking
Not a lot. In the later part of the episode, not a lot actually ended up happening
His job as a ninja.
when it came to like visually. I had to make the driver not talk because he actually talked, and I had to stop him.
Drivers don't need to talk.
Drivers don't need to talk. They're just supposed to drive us. They're supposed to be silent and never speak to us.
Unless they're an Uber driver and you're in the front seat and they're a good talker.
Well, I mean, I try to avoid talking to my Ubers.
Why are we here?
Oh, I've talked to all my Uber
You're
drivers.
sad that the NPCs are basically
They're pretty
like regular people now.
Yeah, some of them are pretty cool.
To introduce ourselves and offer
So again, not a lot going on with this scene other than just like basic,
That's really thoughtful of you.
like lip flapping.
To those around you until they're not kind back. Then you
And I'm guessing basic sound design as well. There's not a lot going on.
I just think about like how many like I think there's at least like I've dropped at least 10 minutes worth of just like walking sounds in this entire episode collectively.
There's a lot of walking.
One eternity later.
Hey, the fire scene is rendered.
Hey, Chrono, why don't you put that castle on fire?
Holy shit, that looks amazing.
Well,
Yeah, you don't have enough money to pay to do that one.
definitely adds to its appeal.
You don't know how much money I have.
So,
Bit of a
is
nod
anyone else
there.
feeling a bit intimidated by this whole
I
procession?
reused lip flaps from an earlier scene for when Shiro and Akatsuki talk right
Can I try that out on one of
here.
We don't have time for that.
When they show up, I reused
Besides,
flaps from an earlier
our
scene.
part is coming up soon anyway.
Good, reuse them all.
Oh no, I reused them a lot in this scene as well.
Listen, reuse things wherever and whenever you can.
Anyone else here
I reused the shot. I reused a flap right there.
really awkward?
Yes.
Meh, I'm okay.
I hated that character in the back didn't have a fully like half open lip flap.
So this doesn't
Her
bother
flap was too similar, and it was just like that's a pain in the ass.
Zero. How long do
Usually you can get away with that by shrinking it a bit for a secondary flap.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It sometimes works.
You look gorgeous. In fact, I might tie you up and take you to my quarters after.
I used a lot of glittery chimey sounds in this episode as well. I've come to realize.
A lot of glasses, Justin.
Oh my! Everyone's messing with their glasses.
I
Where the hell were you hiding that?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I reused flaps from there from a later scene.
My hands.
That's where I reused the flaps from Shiro and Akatsuki walking on Akatsuki.
Lord, is it? I didn't know you were into
I will say one thing that's really advantageous about this is that you can pretty much use anybody's flaps on anybody's face. And 90% of the time it might work.
Huh.
Hopefully.
Dark Lord Shiro, who owns
That's
the
good to know.
guilds and the bank.
Yeah, as long as you get a bit of fade, because sometimes skin tones might interrupt.
Alright, you know what? I freaking hated how Corwin's mouth was because it had so much moving.
Oh man, look at that stash.
I
though.
know, but it was moving so much.
Rusty, you
Man,
better
respect
roll
the
high.
stash.
I would respect the stash if it wasn't making my job harder.
It's a graceful.
You know what?
mustache.
His mustache.
I'm trying to
I am Shiro, also one
Hey,
of the
respect the
representatives
mustache.
of the
I'm
Round
trying
Table.
to reach that
Also,
level
where
of
does mustache go?
That's a good question.
His mustache is just
I just
gone.
noticed that.
I didn't notice that either until just now.
Wait, what? I mean,
I kind of wish Michikata wasn't talking for as long. Like, the pauses weren't as long as that.
Get good, and then you'll know.
More glasses adjustments. Yay.
Reuse flaps right there.
have you guys noticed we're the center of attention here? Well,
And that's the flap I used from Henrietta for
let's do
when
our
she
best to
said, "Do I get to guess with my hands?"
without giving too much away.
And there it
Huh.
is. The villain in glasses has been awakened.
Look at those. Look at this.
Even more footstep variation.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised. I actually had a high heels walking on carpet sound.
How specific.
Thank you. Thank you, Adobe.
Because we totally use that in everyday footsteps. And that is us completing the
Shut up,
CalMeji.
Tony.
Guys,
Overall, a lot of work went into this episode.
Yes, and a lot of
A
rendering.
lot of rendering.
In some
A
particular
lot of work.
A lot of
A
rendering.
lot of rendering.
A lot of
I
rendering.
I think the sediment that could go well with this episode. The sediment of this episode is it. It could be more on ice.
A song of ice and fire.
Are we getting Dragon Force in here? Alright. Final notes. Anyone?
Pretty much
what-
overall, probably the most intense editing we've had to do
Yep.
so far.
Agreed.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Adios, folks.
Bye.